But you also have to appreciate and remember, you know the potter's already been at work because there is a wheel in the first place. You have to know that a wheel is the system, or it's the tool for transformation. The ancient potter's wheel was engineered to turn the clay so that the clay could be changed. In other words, without the turning, there is no transformation. The wheel creates the environment where the potter's hands can reach every side of the clay. And by doing so, every time that the clay turns, the potter can address the weaknesses of the clay. The potter, every time it turns, can correct the imbalances and straighten out every crooked part of the clay. I'm preaching right now. Every time the clay may fall or collapse, when it turns, the potter can raise up that clay. Why? Because the wheel is the tool that keeps the clay moving, so that the potter can keep the clay becoming. Can I testify for a second? Can I testify for a second? And if my testimony sounds like your testimony, then you ought to give credence to your testimony in the same way. Because when I think about the fact that the potter made the wheel, it reminds me that the wheel was made before the shaping. Meaning, God, the potter, made the thing that made the thing. And a part of him making the thing that helped change me is that he created something that could turn me around. I don't know about you, but I'm thankful for the ways and the times that God turned me around. In fact, here's my testimony. God turned my life around. God turned my mourning into dancing. God turned my sorrow into joy. God turned my mess into a message. God turned my test into a testimony. God turned my setback into a comeback. God turned my pain into purpose. God turned my weaknesses into strengths. God turned my worry into worship. God turned my chaos into peace that surpasses all understanding. God turned my fear into faith. God turned my brokenness into blessing. That must not be your testimony. God turned my confusion into clarity. God turned my stress into strategy. God turned my bondage into freedom. God turned his no into my no into his yes. God turned a closed door into a new direction. God turned my valleys into victory. God turned my sackcloth and ashes into beauty. God turned my hurt into hope. He turned my sin to salvation. He turned my wandering into a walk. He turned me unto himself. I don't know about you, but God has been in the turning business all of my life, and somebody ought to remember today, I don't know if you're facing the wrong direction. I don't know where you're oriented, but here's what I know. God can turn us around. And it's the turning that leads to the transformation. So let God turn you around in order to make you into the vessel that God wants you to be. Am I preaching yet this Sunday morning?